Hello, and many thanks for joining us on Kogi in Focus, our weekly review on developments and happenings in and around Kogi, Nigeria's confluent state. I'm Oluwatosin Osuji. On today's edition, Nigeria's Vice President on fact-finding tour of flooded areas in Kogi State. Kogi State government distances itself from plans to anoint aspirants ahead of All Progressives Congress primaries. And when we visit the street, we will be considering sign language and its significance. These and more when we return. Don't go away.
It's Kogi, Nigeria's confluent state, the country's melting point where anything and everything can happen. Kogi in Focus is the program keeping Nigerians abreast of developments in and around the country's most strategically located state. From politics, government to the people, farming to entertainment, sport and a whole lot more. We've got it covered on Kogi in Focus. Watch Kogi in Focus every Monday at 4:30 p.m. on your channel of choice, Africa Independent Television, AIT. For your contributions, feedback and advert placements, please contact us through the displayed phone numbers and social media handles. Kogi in Focus, reaching everywhere, informing everyone. Don't be left out.
Nigeria's Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, says persons affected by the recent flooding in the country will receive timely government assistance. He also promised those a lasting solution to protect people living close to riverbanks. Osinbajo made the remarks during a tour of flood-affected parts of Kogi State in the company of the State Governor, Yahaya Bello, and other top federal and state government functionaries.
Kogi State is among 12 states in Nigeria that have suffered loss of lives and property in the face of the recent flooding that has rocked parts of the country, which is why the state formed part of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo's itinerary as he visits areas affected by flood. At St. Pius Primary School, Koton-Karufi, he was welcomed by traditional rulers and flood victims, where he lamented the extent of destruction and pledged federal government assistance.
We have taking a look at many of the flood sites and very clear that a lot of damage has been done. A lot of damage to farmlands, a lot of damage to houses. And it is the intention of the federal government working with the state government to ensure that when the flood waters recede, we are able to offer some rehabilitation and some comfort in whatever way possible to those who have lost their farmlands, and to commiserate with those who have lost properties and those who may have even lost loved ones.
Governor Bello used the opportunity to express appreciation to the federal government for its intervention.
Succor is going to come the way of our people. On behalf of the state government, to local government, and all other local government that has been
He promised the Vice President of the support of the government and people of Kogi at all times. His Royal Majesty, the Ohimege-Igwe of Koton-Karufi, Abdulrazak Isa Koto, also commented.
As I speak to you, about 68 communities, in fact the entire riverine community of this local government are no longer in existence. I want to make a special appeal that we have 3 sections in this local government, and sincerely we can make lands available so that an IDP camp can be built, whether it's temporary or permanent, so that whenever this alert comes, the fear is where do we go? People can easily come in and resettle. Tributaries and channels into the River Niger and Benue are blocked. So except these channels are redone again and open so that these waters again can go into the River Niger.
This flooding is unfortunate as it is, I think it's also an opportunity for us to do more. And already we're working with NEMA. The DG of NEMA is here with me. I brought him here with me to take a look at what can be done, immediately.
The Vice President also visited the internally displaced persons camp along the Kotofi-Abuja Highway, where he met and interacted with the affected persons.
The Kogi state government has distanced itself from allegations that the governor has forced some aspirants on the All Progressives Congress ahead of party primaries in the state. The Director General on Media and Publicity to the governor, Kingsley Fanwu, who made the state government's position clear during a news briefing in Lokoja, said the indirect primary system was unanimously adopted by state APC stakeholders during the general meeting.
As a party, there was a stakeholders meeting by the party and all stakeholders where it was unanimously agreed that the party will adopt indirect primaries. The governor was seated at the party and was listening to all the arguments of all party members. At the end of the day, majority of the stakeholders, majority of the party executives, both at the state, local government and ward levels, resolved to go by indirect primaries. And when he was to make his own remarks, he said that he's going to go with what the majority of party members have adopted. The issue of anointing candidates or not anointing candidates, the governor had responded to it already, personally, that he is father to all in APC. If you are interested in contesting an election, go and procure your form, obtain your form, go for primaries. Anybody who emerges from primary election becomes the anointed candidate of the governor. This is very clear. So the issue of imposing anybody or not imposing anybody does not even arise.
He advised aggrieved members to handle their grievances in line with laid down party rules.
Government didn't buy form for anybody. Government is not going to fund the campaign of anybody. Let them go and fund their campaign. Let them campaign to the delegates. And then whatever happens at the end of the day should remain a family affair at the end of the day. Because we are in a big family and APC wants to win big in Kogi State. We want cohesion. And that is why we have ensured a free and fair ground for everybody to contest. So when you contest and you know your fate has been decided by the delegates, you will not be able to blame anybody and you will not leave the party. We will all work together. Like in Kogi West Senatorial District, about 4 people bought forms and we need only 1 person. So only 1 of the 4 will emerge. The 3 of them must be ready to work for the party because they must prove that it is not about a personal interest. When you are running away from the party because you lose primary, it means it is a personal interest. The interest of your people, the interest of the party must be paramount. And that is what we expect of them.
The state government's comment came on the heels of a press release by Kogi West APC Vanguard signed by its coordinator Ayo Alonge, claiming that Governor Yaya Bello plans to force former Senator Smart Adeyemi on Kogi West as a candidate during the primaries and the general election. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, new Kogi State Commandant Philip Ayodele has commended the efforts of the state government in ensuring security of life and property. Ayodele, who gave the commendation at the Army Command Records Barracks in Lokoja while taking possession of a truck believed to be used for illegal oil bunkering, promised to work with security agents in the state to make life difficult for illegal bunkers and other criminals in the state.
And I can assure you that this synergy will continue. I have met a state which enjoys a lot of security support from our amiable governor, Yaya Bello, who has been supporting security in low ramifications. And I promise to consolidate on the synergy that I have seen in Kogi State. And I can assure the public that it is now an eye-opener for my officers and men to intensify more efforts with the Joint Task Force, and even in the areas of carrying out statutory functions, I want to assure the public that constant patrol and more deployment will be made to consolidate with the efforts of all the security agencies in Kogi State. I'm happy that the activities of vandals are being exposed by the military.
The Army Command Records Chief of Staff, Brigadier General Gideon Ajetumobi, and Intelligence Officer Captain Nick Eje highlighted the need to fish out criminals, investigate their crimes, and bring them to book.
Troops of Headquarter Commander Army Records moved in swiftly to a bunkering illegal site where the tanker was arrested. We have not rested on our oars, and I can assure you and the entire public the perpetrators will be brought to book and will face the full wrath of law.
We thank the state government for providing an enabling environment to ensure that all the security agencies are able to act in synergy in ensuring that there's peace and safety guaranteed within the state. The reason why we are handing over the tanker at this particular time is that as military, we don't have the power to prosecute. And one thing is that there are specific agencies that have that power for prosecution. So on that note, because of our synergy and cooperation in each and every exercises and operation, this day we are handing over the tanker to the Security and Defense Corps, which have the power to prosecute.
They said the bunkers and the driver of the impounded truck ran away before the troops arrived at the scene. The Civil Defense Commandant promised a thorough investigation of the matter. The Kogi State chapter for the Center for Human Rights and Conflict Resolution organized a one-day workshop during the week on the role of media and civil society organization in promoting transparency and accountability in Nigeria. At the workshop held in Lokoja, the state capital, journalists across Nigeria were reminded of the importance of accurate reporting of political events before, during, and after next year's general elections.
We have to give equal space to political parties. Equal space, equal time, equal airtime, so that they can air their view. And so we have to be seen to be monitoring election from the primary, because the vote buying syndrome starts from the primary to the main election.
The availability of a viral civil society space is one of the hallmarks of a good democratic governance.
The nagging problem of vote buying and selling during elections was also addressed.
When it comes to issues around the elections, it's something that we should all take seriously now, particularly because of the forthcoming general elections. And like it has been raised with all the speakers, we have seen a very new trend and dimension in our elections, which has to be treated as a matter of urgent importance. The issue of vote buying and selling, and then the activities of security agencies during elections.
I want them to be more proactive. Proactive in the sense that there is an event coming up. There is a process that has emerged. What is the engagement of journalists? You don't have to wait till people issue press statement or invite to say we are coming to an event. It's for journalists in the state to ask questions. Corruption in election, transparency in election, and accountability in election is very key. And journalists must uphold this principle of accountability, transparency, and then anti-corruption in election in any form and whatever form.
The organizer, Abdul Miliki, called on the government and INEC to carefully examine the conduct and comments that trailed the Osun State governorship election and its comparison with the legislative by-election in Kogi State. Some journalists reacted to recent allegations that they have been bought over by politicians.
And as a broadcasting organization, we promise to collaborate with him towards ensuring that these issues are tackled headlong, so that together we can fix Nigeria. I know it's not going to be a very easy task, but let us make our contributions. wherever we get to, God will bear us witness that at least we played our part.
They called for increased support from all Nigerians, especially as the 29th and general elections are approaching in the face of increased risks. If you are just joining us, this is Kogi in Focus, your weekly review of major activities in and around Kogi State. For your contributions, information, feedback, and possible event coverage, reach us via the phone numbers and social media handles displayed on your screen. The government has entered into a partnership with the Emerald Fertilizer Company as part of its efforts to boost agriculture in the state. The State Commissioner of Commerce and Industry, Tolorunleke Sunday, with other government executive members, handed over the state's Moribund fertilizer production facilities at Agwuengwu-Uvo to Emerald Fertilizer Production Company to produce effective and sustainable organic fertilizer to farmers across the state at affordable cost. The chief executive of Emerald Fertilizer, Frederick Raji, said his company will bring all its expertise and technical know-how to bear in ensuring available and affordable fertilizer for farmers. The state-owned Confluent Fertilizer Company was one of the Moribund companies which went through a technical audit carried out by the State Ministry of Commerce and Industry, after which the decision to go into partnership with Emerald Fertilizer was made. Culture, they say, is a way of life and passes from generation to generation. As Kogi Central prepares to celebrate EKEUCHI Day, traditional leaders of the area speak on the day's significance and the importance of culture in general. They frowned at the attachment of violence to cultural festivals.
We must be able to educate, give orientation to the young ones, the folklore norm in the society. We should equally educate our young generation to respect and obey elders in the community.
In the past, masquerade will just not go and beat anybody anyhow. Masquerade is to entertain. But these days, masquerades don't care. They beat women anyhow, beat elders anyhow. Even at the market, they enter market and start to beat women, vandalize the market. So to do it better, for one, to enjoy, and for outsiders to enjoy, we have to go back to have this orientation.
Culture as a potential revenue earner was also highlighted.
So it's a kind of an end of the year harvest festival. People use that to bring to an end the monthly contributions, which is the economic aspect of our culture, so that once they give you your own, you can build a house with it, you can marry with it, you can buy whatever you want to buy with it.
All we need is to rebrand. Rebranding is what is lacking. I believe strongly that once we rebrand our own festival, it will attract. We have hotels, we have tourists, tourism sites, and we have facilities that can accommodate tourists. So we have everything on ground. All we just need to do is rebrand.
Previous EKEUCHI Day festivals haven't ended well until last year when Governor Yahya Bello launched a revival.
What you are simply doing by ensuring peace and security in your land is what is translating into the very few infrastructural development that you are witnessing in your local government. Therefore, I urge you to please continue on this path.
The people are optimistic that this year's edition will be a success.
Government can come in here by doing a kind of enlightenment program to promote peace among all the masquerade, all the custodians and the other individuals here. I think that we have a good EKEUCHI festival.
I want to say that honestly, the violent aspect of EKEUCHI, once it is put into extinction, I'm telling you, we'll get a very peaceful and lovely EKEUCHI that will invite or attract tourists from outside the shore of this very state.
EKEUCHI, among other Ibira festivals, is a festival with a huge cultural significance, which includes traditional marriage of young persons said to be old enough to quit living single. Signs that the entertainment industry in Kogi State is growing was in evidence during the week as popular artist and a radio presenter Tijani Ahovi, popularly called T-Bright, launched his music album tagged Agwuengwu-Uvo, meaning let's help one another. Government and well-meaning Nigerians were encouraged to support this and other well-intended efforts to boost Nigeria's entertainment industry.
I use this medium to appeal to prominent citizens to please help us mobilize the youth that are talented. People like him started from scratch, but with the support he has and the determination, he's able to do something for himself today.
We all in entertainment are doing it for the zeal and the love we have for it, not even with something inside it, because if you want to consider what beneath this water, we will not drink a water of entertainment. So, now, what government can do is in a way to do a stream that will be a benefit to every artist, irrespective of who you are, either a movie artist or a musical artist, a kind of empowerment that can be empowering all individual artists.
No government in the past has done as much as he has supported them, and the reason why he's doing this is because if you encourage youth to keep roads and armed robbery out of the street.
T-Bright acknowledged the state government's efforts at reviewing Kogi's entertainment industry and explained reasons for the progress he has made in the music business.
So I'm very, very happy. I've seen their support, so I'm happy. There's no government in Kogi State that has helped artists so far than that. So they have been all of this, I pray that God will turn him and bless him in abundance. And I hope to be in a better place than this in 5 years' time. At least I should be in the industry full time, working with the people that know how to do this more than I do.
World Sign Language Day was marked last week on September 23rd. The focus of the day, as the name implies, is to spare thought for the world's hearing impaired persons. The theme for this year is, with sign language, everyone is included. How much do Nigerians know about sign language? and its importance. That's our focus on this week's Views from the Streets.
It is very important to use sign language in occasions and events, because if you look at our society today, we have people that are deaf, we have people that have hearing difficulties, and when they are in an occasion where a very important topic is being discussed and they are not carried along, they will not get the message. So it is very important to use sign language in those occasions so that those people with hearing difficulties will not be shortchanged. They will not be left behind.
A deaf, a dumb can attend an event, and for them to get the message across whatever thing that is going to be said in that event, we have to use a sign language for them to understand what is going on in that event.
Inclusiveness, basically. I believe that's the most important thing, inclusiveness. So the people who don't hear the way we do don't feel left out when there are events and functions and all that. So it's basically inclusiveness to make everybody be carried along.
It's like being deprived, it's like being, you feel dejected, you feel like you're not part of the system, and there's nothing as wrong as that. So I see it as so important that we need to incorporate that in every of our functions and parties, wherever it is, even in the church as well, so that these guys are carried along.
Those people that cannot talk, and with the signs that they use for them, they will know what is going on in the society, and they too, they can make their own contribution.
This is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of Kogi in Focus. Do join us next week, same time, same station, for another weekly review. Until then, I remain yours truly, Oluwatosin Osuji, asking you to keep doing unto others what you want them to do to you. Bye for now.